People who've actually slept with their step-sibling or sibling. How did it happen and how was your relationship affected? Story 1. Slept with my former sister-in-law. Is that close enough? How'd it happen? She hated my ex-wife/her sister. My ex-wife cheated on me. We were drinking together about 6 months after it ended, and she said, "You should F me to get even." Relationship didn't at all change. We just know each other a little better than we used to. Both dating others now, and it's like it never happened. Story 2. Mom dated a guy. Guy had a son same age as me. We hated our parents and slept together. Had a fun time. Broke up due to him using drugs and me not dealing with it. Both are married, to other people, and happy. We don't talk even though we see each other at family gatherings after our parents got married. He was on drugs for years. Lied to me over and over that he was clean and he wasn't. I was always trying to support him, but he just didn't want to clean up yet. He did clean up for his wife. Story 3. I slept with my stepsister. She came in town for visit her dad, and when I went outside to help bring luggage and she gave me the F me eyes. As soon as she saw me and instantly I knew I was in trouble. For a week and a half I kept being polite and trying to remain distant because I had been warned by my stepdad and her brothers to not even look in her direction, not bring any friends over, not do anything wrong, and I had absolutely no intention of doing so. But it was the first time I had ever had anyone want me that badly, and I gave in, and we secretly got together for the remainder of the months she spent in town. We were both young and dumb and fell in love, and thought we hid it well, but when they found out after she left I got my ass beat. For a few years they wouldn't let her visit, and we kept in touch. Then after college I moved to where she lived, and we have been together ever since. 11 years now, and we have a 5-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. Everyone is completely fine with it now, and we make jokes about it all the time. Story 4. Not me but my close family. My grandmother had 3 husbands. 4 children with all different dads. My mother's dad was sexually abusive and had been sleeping with my aunt, Mom's older sister. They continued that relationship for years. My grandma divorced him and he married my aunt. So my aunt was also step-grandma, and my mother's dad was also uncle. When he finally died, I remember my mother saying, "I don't want to go to his funeral, but I really think I should be there to support my stepmom." That woman has always had a warped sense of humor. I love it. Story 5. My wife F her brother in my bed when I went upstairs to sleep. We had company over and they were a bit loud, and my bed is on the first floor where they all were, so I decided to go upstairs cause it would be quieter. Woke up about 2 to 3 hours later, and went downstairs to grab water and rejoin my wife, but she already had company. She was adopted and met him about 6 months prior. They were talking on the phone constantly to the point where even though I was happy she found her family, I had to let her know I thought the frequency of their talking was weird. They're still, literally on the phone 24/7. I've caught her trying to put him on mute and in her pocket so they'd still be together. It's insanely unhealthy. Yes, they were drunk. But they knew what they were doing. And they're still doing it to this day. I found out about this in February of 2019. I attempted to try to work things out with her, and she had said they were just talking and it wasn't like that anymore. I got a Facebook video chat request from her brother's then girlfriend telling me she found inappropriate texts between them and left him. She again told me they were done, and they weren't taking any more after that because his girlfriend had outed them to her newfound family, and she received messages from her sisters telling her they were disgusted and wished they never found her, etc. I believed again they were done at this point. We were going out for my birthday in April and I found her sending pictures of herself dressed up to him with replies about how sexy she looked and emails between them about how, "You know what we have, we can't deny it anymore." It was gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. I served her shortly after. She's been delaying the court dates, claiming she needs more time to find a lawyer because she doesn't have anywhere else to go and the house is in my name, and I can't exactly evict her. Story 6. My dad's brother married my mom's sister. My parents somehow didn't really meet until several months after the wedding. My cousins and I are as close to incest as it gets without actually crossing blood relatives. Just for fun, my siblings have a different dad than me, so I actually look more related to those cousins than I do my own siblings. I just try to not explain that to people, but it definitely is weird when it gets out. I should explain it's only weird because people get confused, until they figure out it's just two sisters married two brothers. My parents are divorced now anyway, so it rarely comes up, more if we have a get-together and a newcomer mentions it's funny I look like my cousins and my siblings and I don't look related pretty much. Story 7. Oh God, this is just bad. Okay, so, it wasn't my sibling, but a step-cousin on my stepfather's side of the family. There is a group of kids and a group of us all around the same age. Whenever he have get-togethers, we teens always hung out until recently when we joined the adults. But I was 15, during my sexual peak I guess you could say, and we all decided to play truth or dare. Now, for context, I joined their lives after they were already 12 or so, and I was the only white guy. I was more their best friend of sorts than a relative, and I had been previously caught checking out one of the girls on the last visit. In my defense, she had worn a tight dress at that time which showed off her assets. So the two other guys naturally made me kiss her. For their own reasons, I suppose. Me and her kinda had the same expression of, okay then, game on. So we did it. We were the two balls of ones of the group and usually didn't back down from a challenge. Everyone did their hoots, and when it was her turn, they told her to make out with me for 5 minutes. Again, same mutual non-spoken agreement, and that happened. This escalated until it got to them handing us a condom and saying go into the other room and smash. There was a mild hesitation, but we both, again, just non-verbally said, F it. Story 8. So I wasn't the one who slept with my own relative, but I was involved in a situation. My childhood friend, Reba, was in love with this dude Greg. Greg was a typical American dude, average looks, liked football, school, girls repeat. Reba was gorgeous. 12 out of 10 handily. Would totally risk TMJ for her, if you catch my drift. The issue was, though, that she was boring as F. Favorite color? White. Favorite food? Iron Kids bread. Just so F dull. Thus, not many people were into her, and I'm not talking just romantically. She had few friends and no dates and no Greg. So one day, Reba and I are walking home from school and we see Greg on her front steps. Reba is shaking with excitement, anticipation. She's probably thinking, hashtag this is smiment, or some shit. We reach Greg and Reba can't F talk, so I asked him what he's doing there. He looks straight at Reba and asks, did you know that our parents were F? She did not. Fast forward some months, and their parents get married and they all move in together. Reba gives up the dream of Greg because pseudo-family and all that. Life goes on and everyone kind of just goes with it. The three of us become friends and figure out we have stuff in common. We are cordial to one another at school, etc. So senior year starts and my stupid bisexual ass catches feelings for Reba. She's no longer talking about Greg all the time, so I'm learning more about her as a person, and she's kinda dope in addition to being Eliza Dushku, SP, hot. We get trashed off of Smirnoff Ice and I make a move and she F goes for it. Maybe it's hormones, maybe it's the genuine love of friendship, but something carries us out of friendship and into running with scissors. We're going at it all the time. My hands are barely on anything that's not a boob. Naturally, one day, our horny little asses get down to it somewhere we shouldn't and Greg catches us. Now Reba is sufficiently interesting to him. No one would care if either of us is queer, but it's high school goddamn it, so we're trying to just, avoid the convo. Greg promises to keep his trap shut. Time passes. It's winter break and someone has a party. Small towns, what you gonna do? Greg and Reba and I are all going. We play flip cup and quarters and beer pong and never have I ever. I'm sitting in between the two of them and not surprisingly I'm experienced vagina feelings. They're both touching me, we're all tipsy but not drunk. I know it's about to go down. Reba and I run off to find a room and start making out. Greg finds us a few minutes later and sits next to us on the bed. I'm all in at this point, so I start kissing Reba again, and Greg just watches, low-key stroking himself through his jeans. I catch on and pat a spot on the bed closer to us, which he settles into. I take one of my hand and replace his, unzipping his jeans, while my other hand is in Reba's bra. The rest just kind of comes together. We have a great time and no combination of coupling is overlooked. It's a magical night for all. We leave our friend's house and all go back to Greg and Reba's. Reba passes out, but I can't sleep. I run into Greg in the kitchen and we get to talking. He says that he will never forget tonight, and he's always been into me. I ask about Reba and he says, "Yeah, that was weird, but she is so hot though." He knows that she should be off limits, so he plans to make sure this was a one-time thing with her. We talk and have a good rhyme, and then we end up in his room and passing out together. I wake up the next morning and hear some weird sounds. I look over and Reba is but naked, bouncing on her stepbrother's D. So much for a one-time thing. I know I shouldn't be pissed because I'd just been where she is, but I didn't like what I saw. I knew she was going to catch feelings and it would be a real goddamn problem. I was right. She was even more in love with him after that. Reba would go on and on about how he was the one. Greg was not feeling the same, but he was a teenage boy with an eager sex partner 10 feet away. They went at it like rabbits until graduation. I hooked up with each of them off and on, but not together. That would have been too weird. They went to separate colleges and I went to the same school as Greg. We didn't date or anything else at that point, but I heard stories from girls who dated him about how close he was with his family, and how he'd go home all the time to be with them, and it was so cute. I knew the truth though, he was going home to bang his sister. Midway through college, Reba got pregnant. Greg wanted to bail but couldn't because they were family. Baby is born and as the kid grows up, he looks just like Greg. The parents figure it out and all hell breaks loose. They kick the kids out and refuse to talk to them for a year or more. Greg shows up at my dorm trashed in senior year of college. One more time for old time's sake? Reddit, I'm not a smart man. We have a great night, and I never see him again. Last I heard, Reba's an astrophysicist. Greg is a stay-at-home dad to their 3 kids. I match with him on Tinder regularly. School as Greg. We didn't date or anything else at that point, but I heard stories from girls who dated him about how close he was with his family, and how he'd go home all the time to be with them, and it was so cute. I knew the truth though, he was going home to. Story 9. My older brother dated our older stepsister. He was 15 to 16, she was 30 to 32. My mum was livid about it. Her dad pretended it wasn't happening. She was a bit of a sugar mama, bought him lots of nice stuff, flew him places. She took him to parties and did drugs with etc. Slept with him. My mum thinks she dated my brother just to spite her. I don't know how valid that is, wouldn't surprise me. But my mum was also a piece of work, and to get back at her and her husband for allowing it, she slept with her stepson. Story 10. One of my dad's best friends, let's call him Rob, was partially crazy, admitted to a mental hospital briefly for running around town in tidy whities and trying to get into his ex-wife's house. I grew up around this guy, so it was great. He's dead now though, so the fun times are over. Anyways, Rob and his ex did have a daughter. Well, his brother and his bro's wife split at some point, and they have a son, Rob's nephew. One thing obviously leads to another, and Rob and his ex-sister-in-law get together, and you guessed it, get married. So now Rob's nephew is now also his stepson, and his daughter is also now stepdaughter to her aunt. Story 11. When I was in high school, my parents went on a cruise for their anniversary and let me stay home. When they came back, they announced that they had met another couple on the cruise and had fallen in love with each other's spouses. They all got divorced. My mom and dad got remarried with the husband and wife, respectively, and then I find out that my stepparents had a son, and were all going to live in the same house together. I was pretty understandably pissed at the time, and my stepbrother was kind of an ass to me, but then one day I wake up to the dude fucking kissing me. Long story short, there was a shitload of drama and on again off again bullshit, A big scare where we found out my mom and his dad had a one-night stand like 16 years prior and thought we might be blood related. We're not, but we finally figured out how to make it work. Married for 20 years.